First we go to here and we ask Welga to become a subject, and I think they have said yes. No? Okay, they have said yes. And then we come to this diplomatic play. I think we need to declare neutrality. Yeah, we do. Well, it's a loyal subject of ours now. Then we come to this diplomatic play. Just make sure that we appear as imposing as possible. Okay, immediately ask for a bankroll. Yeah, hooray, they accepted. So now we're going to get a bankroll from Britain. How cool is that? And once we have secured the bankroll from Britain, we can come back to our subject. Welga, which is a subject. This guy. We can offer them our support, which I'm sure they will accept. And they really do need our help, right? Because otherwise they won't stand a chance. It should be a very easy war for us. Should be no problem at all. And yeah, so Britain is giving us so much money. 29k every month. It's awesome, right? And after we helped Britain put down their local pricing in Australia, now it's time to help them with another local pricing in Australia. Let's see what we can. I'm gonna choose your state, Ionian, United Tribes, Corner. I think we're going to take Ionian. Yeah. They said yes. Nice. Nice. And we have our first railway in Egypt. And we're trying to, although it's suffering a supply shortage because not enough employment here, but we're trying to modernize our logistics systems that will free up labor that can be used to work on more pressing works, because as we have shown, we have constant shortage of qualified labor. So we're trying to build more railways across the country. There's one more diplomatic play coming up, so we'll capitulate here and again offer our kind of support to Great Britain. Will you give us a neutral state? Okay, we'll take neutral state. At this time, we have two strategic options. I think we can wage a war against the Ottoman Empire, and take these provinces that will be relatively easy to incorporate because culturally very similar, also follow the same religion. Or we can turn upwards. We can subjugate Sokoto, and maybe from there, um, all the way from Bornu to Darfur and connected with Egypt. Historically, Egypt did briefly occupy Darfur or Sudan. Um, and I think I'm inclined towards the African route because, the Ottomans will always be there. I mean, other than the possibility that the Russians may conquer this part, this conclave. Um, but no one's really going to invade Ottoman, um, other than us. Um, Whereas this part, like Britain and France, they all have their own design on Africa. And controlling these states, I think, will be more beneficial in the longer term. Um, Besides, Sokoto is a massive country, like 6 million population, 4 million GDP. This one is another million, um, and another half million between Wadai and Darfur. Um, and they're unrecognized states, so unrecognized regional power, unrecognized. So subjugating them incurs a much less infamy. Um, and that's, I think, why we're going to focus on them. I think we're going to do these two. We're going to do Darfur and Sokoto, and that will insulate these three countries from other global powers. And once the truce with Sokoto and Darfur expires, we will reduce their autonomy uh, and expand inwards, into the heartland of Africa subsequently. Um, they will not accept, of course, they will not. I only hope that no other countries will interfere, because that would be quite nasty. That would be quite troublesome. They have 170. I think mobilizing 90 battalions should be quite enough. Let's add one goal of war reparation. Do we open their markets? Turn them? No, we don't. I'd be happy to have them in our custom union exclusively. Let's see if we can subjugate Sokoto quickly enough to be part of this diplo play in Indonesia. And once we have peace out Sokoto, we will get involved in this diplomatic play in Indochina, well, in Southeast Asia, by first offering our support to one side of the diplo play and switching to the other side. They say if we help them, they will become our protectorate. We already have one, and they have a battalion, and you don't. So answer is no. The tricky thing though is that, and then we're going to just conquer Darfur, and I hope that nobody will get involved. The reason why I want to conquer them is that because if we only turn them into a protectorate, we still don't have a border with Wadai. So for us to push into the inner lands quickly enough, we will need to take a more aggressive stance toward these countries. The war in Indonesia will break out. We will help them by carrying out a naval invasion. And of course, we have moved both our army and our navy there. Well, the appropriate size of it. Um, this is a conquest place, so that we can't add any additional war goals. They don't really have an army, so we're gonna have a small army to take care of it. We're gonna have a 10 battalion army. We're done here. We're done here. We are done here, it's fully occupied. And we can demobilize this and still leave it here. They do have a tendency of, if you demobilize it, they want to go back to headquarters in Arabia, although you have designated Indochina as its new headquarters. And once we have conquered Sudan, we will continue to conquer this state. Okay, they refused swiftly. So in addition to the conquer, we're going to ask for a war reparation as well as make protectorate, all of which we will add to primary goals. And of course, we need to incorporate these newly acquired states. This is a 2-point in for me, it's fine. We're done yet? Yes, we're done. And then I think lastly, we need to turn Bornu into a protectorate. Wait for our liberation. Conquer Bornu chart. It's a 14% chance that they will agree. Why take any chance, right? What about turn them into protectorate? Okay, we turn them into protectorate. Add war reparation and conquer Bornu chart and all as primary. That's all we have to do for Africa. All we have to do now is regularly reduce the autonomy of those subjects we have without necessarily turning all of them into an annexed province, because some of them have a different culture. And before we invent multiculturalism, having them, directly as a incorporated state just means more radical population. Having them as a subject is a much more efficient way to administer them. And then once our infamy level cools down, we can turn our focus back to Europe. And our goal is to take those provinces from the Ottoman Empire, especially Eastern Thrace, which we need to realize the Muhammad Ali's ambition, achievement. And eventually we can puppet Ottoman Empire and maybe annex them ultimately, because if you look at Turkish culture is not discriminated, and if you look at Greek culture is. So what we can do is we can take all this part, Eastern Thrace and all the Anatolia, and turn the rest of it, Greek and Bulgarian, culturally speaking, into the leftover of the Ottoman Empire into a puppet. And that's, I think, the idea. Okay, now we have queening. Suddenly we can colonize a lot more places, especially this part. How is our army doing? Not so well. But because we are losing 800 people for every 1,300 people, so in the longer term we should be fine. Landowners want us to pass the law of secret police in 4 years' time, and we'll see what we can do. Actually, it's not a bad choice at all. Well, partly because that makes most of the people take Mosquito Kingdom. Transfer subjects. Mosquito Kingdom. Yeah, they say yes. That's nice.